Improving transport in cities. B2. What do you think are the main transport problems in cities nowadays? I think traffic congestion is probably the biggest one. During rush hours, roads become overcrowded and people waste a lot of time commuting. I agree. In addition, air pollution is often connected to heavy traffic. Too many private cars create environmental problems. That's true. In my city, public transport is generally useful, but there are still some issues. For example, buses are not always frequent enough, especially in certain areas. I can relate to that. Sometimes connections between different types of transport are inconvenient. You may miss a bus and then have to wait a long time for the next one. Exactly. Another problem is overcrowding. During peak hours, buses and trains can become extremely crowded. That's true. People often have difficulty finding seats, and sometimes vehicles are so full that passengers cannot even get on. Do you think there are any effective solutions? Definitely. First of all, cities should invest more in public transport. If services became more frequent and reliable, more people would leave their cars at home. I completely agree. Better public transport could reduce traffic and pollution at the same time. Another solution would be creating more dedicated bus lanes. When buses get stuck in traffic, public transport becomes less attractive. That's a great idea. Dedicated lanes would make journeys faster and more predictable. Cities could also improve cycling infrastructure. Safe bike lanes encourage people to use bicycles instead of cars. Absolutely. Cycling is healthy, environmentally friendly, and often faster than driving short distances. What about electric buses and cleaner vehicles? I think they are very important. Modern transport systems should focus on reducing emissions whenever possible. I agree. Environmental concerns are becoming increasingly serious, so sustainable transport should be a priority. Another interesting topic is remote work. If more people worked from home, traffic congestion could decrease significantly. That's true. During recent years, many companies have discovered that remote work can be effective. Of course, not every profession can be performed remotely, but it certainly helps in some sectors. Now let's discuss a more controversial question. Do you think public transport should be free? That's a difficult one. Part of me says yes, because free transport could encourage more people to use buses and trains instead of private cars. I agree. It could reduce traffic congestion and make transport accessible for everyone, including people with lower incomes. Exactly. Students, pensioners, and unemployed people would particularly benefit from such a system. However, somebody would still have to pay for it. That's the main problem. Free public transport is never truly free because costs are usually covered through taxes. Right. Transport systems require maintenance, fuel, staff, and infrastructure. All of this can be expensive. Personally, I would prefer low-cost transport rather than completely free transport. I think that's a reasonable compromise. Affordable tickets could encourage usage without placing too much pressure on public finances. Some cities already offer discounts for students, seniors, and regular users. That seems like a practical approach. I agree. It helps people who need support while keeping the system financially sustainable. Another possibility would be making public transport free only during certain periods or in city centers. That's an interesting idea. It might reduce congestion in the busiest areas. Exactly. Small experiments could show whether such policies are effective before applying them on a larger scale. So to sum up, cities face problems such as traffic congestion, pollution, overcrowding, and unreliable connections. Possible solutions include investing in public transport, creating more bike lanes, introducing cleaner vehicles, and encouraging remote work. And while completely free public transport has advantages, it also raises financial concerns. Therefore, affordable, reliable, and environmentally friendly transport is probably the most realistic goal for modern cities.